in existence from 1787. This is the only one that was privately held. Appraiser Seth Caller.
A ratification copy of the United States Constitution, actually signed by the one person who had to sign it, Charles Thompson.
Thompson was the Secretary of the Congress. There's also a letter from George Washington asking for ratification. This prized document, sold by Brunk Auctions for $9 million, was recently found inside a filing cabinet at a property once owned by a former North Carolina governor. I'm Jackie Quinn.
There's widespread evidence of a healthy U.S. economy. However, correspondent Donna Warder reports lower-income Americans are being squeezed by high prices.
The Bank of Atlanta estimates that the U.S. economy grew a strong 3.4% in the third quarter, despite Americans dealing with high prices. But Federal Reserve research suggests that only a portion of the American population is fueling most of the economic growth. By August of this year, inflation-adjusted spending on retail goods was nearly 17% higher than it was in January 2018. But for upper-income households earning more than $100,000 a year, spending for middle-income households earning $60,000 to $100,000 rose 13.3% during the same period. Donna Warder, Washington.
The Federal Aviation Administration is opening a new review of safety at Boeing. It will conduct a 3-month review of Boeing's compliance with safety regulations. On Wall Street, the Dow by 36 points. The NASDAQ rose 115.
But you telling me there was a single place that the producer goes to get everything?
If the Pope is dead.
From Focus Features comes the electrifying new film, Conclave.
We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
Based on the international best-selling thriller.
The Pope discovered something before he died.
Ray
No,
Fiennes,
well,
Stanley
I
Tucci.
understand. We didn't have any major issues, but he was,
Isabella Rossellini.
We sisters
you know,
eyes and ears.
Top critics are
when I don't
rating
host the
Conclave
show,
hands down the
Chris
best
does it
picture
or
of the year.
critic, I expect them to
Conclave,
pick right up where I left off, and they do.
Only in
And
theaters
when
October 25th.
somebody's
Anyone
subbing
with
for
everyday
you,
aches and pains, I've
I
got a
want
question.
them to pick right
What
up
are you missing
where
out
you
on?
were.
Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
The stocks rose to records to close out their latest winning week. The S&P 500 climbed 0.4% to squeak past the all-time high it had set earlier this week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added 0.1% to its own record set the day before, and the NASDAQ Composite gained 0.6%. Netflix helped drive the market after that streaming giant reported stronger profit for the latest quarter than analysts had expected. It marked the 6th straight winning week for the S&P 500, its longest such streak of the year. The Dow up 36 points today to close at 43,275. The NASDAQ gained 116 to 18,489. The S&P 500 added 23 points to 5864. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. We're clear and cool tonight with the low dipping down to 43. Tomorrow is very nice, mostly sunny skies. We'll have a few clouds, the high climbs to 75, while on Sunday, even better, plentiful sunshine. 77 is the high, and next week, we'll stay dry. We'll see a lot of sun there also. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Great things don't happen all at once. Big dreams take time. And when it comes to saving for college, it's those small steps that make a difference. I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, is designed to be taken step by step. You can start with any amount, contributions are tax deductible, and earnings grow tax-free. So why wait? Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. First time ever we come to you from, no, that's not true. We actually broadcast from Oklahoma a couple of years ago when we came out to Oklahoma on the way to Fayetteville, Arkansas. So this is actually the second time we have been in the state of Oklahoma to broadcast the show. We're in Oklahoma City after flying into Tulsa early this morning, and I'm bringing an oil well back with me. I am going to put an oil well in my backyard. I think, all these rich folks out here in Oklahoma, they have oil wells in their backyard, so I'm going to follow suit and do the same thing. So it'll be a little awkward getting it on the plane, but see if I can get it through security. I hope everybody had a great Friday. Looking forward to what should be another great weekend of football. The weather should be fantastic, I think, as far as we know, out here in Oklahoma. It's going to be mid-70s, nothing but sunshine. It was very windy today, and so it's supposed to die off a little bit tomorrow, maybe a good bit, but today is very windy out here, so we'll see if that impacts the team. South Carolina looking to come in and beat a blue blood program and really earn a gold star for their program after coming so close at Alabama last week. They get a shot against Oklahoma, a team that's under a lot of pressure, Chris Bergen, as he joins us from Sardis, where I don't believe they have any oil wells in the ground there.
We do not, but I could be the first. If you can strap two onto the back of the airplane and drag it over here, that'd be awesome.
I'm see if oil wells. See if American Airlines will go along with that. But really, Oklahoma under a lot of pressure here locally. Brent Venables under a lot of pressure. When I say that, I'm not talking about in terms of his job. I'm just talking about the fans. They're upset, especially with the offense. They want to change with the offensive coordinator. Obviously, not something he's doing right now. But their offense is, it's very similar. The two offenses, they have hurt themselves repeatedly throughout the first half of the season with mistakes, penalties. Oklahoma only averages about 280 yards per game, about 24 points per game overall. They've had quarterback issues. They've gone back and forth. Started out with one quarterback, went to another one in the Tennessee game. So I think they're going to go back to the original quarterback for this one. Not 100% sure. We'll wait and see who trots out there. They've had some injuries. They got a pretty long list of guys who are out. Of course, they do have one in particular that they're keeping a close watch on, and that's the receiver Burks. He's listed as questionable. If he's able to play, that'll certainly be a boost to Oklahoma because he's a very good receiver. But I think this one's out there for the taking for South Carolina, Chris, if they can just play some good football.
Yeah, I'll be fascinated to see what Brent Venables does. He actually mentioned earlier in the week he wasn't against playing both Jackson Arnold and Michael Hawkins. I don't know which one gives them the better opportunity to win. You just look at the numbers. Arnold's got better passing numbers. He's thrown for more touchdowns, but there's something about Jackson Arnold that evidently they don't like as much as the youngster Michael Hawkins, so we'll see what they do tomorrow. And then on the flip side, you talked about Deion Burks. I think that may be part of their problem offensively, just not having him. If I'm not mistaken, he's missed a game or two injury-wise. So if they are able to get him back, I know if I believe I'm right in saying he did not play against Texas. I don't know if that would have mattered last week as badly as they got beat by UT, but nonetheless, I think having your top wide receiver in the mix, just ask South Carolina with the injuries they've had in their special, in terms of their skill positions. You get your best guys out on the field. There's a reason they're your best guys, and you need them.
Yeah, and the Gamecocks continue to miss Brown. He's a guy that can really give them the deep threat. Interesting, Corey Miller last night, he wasn't all caught up in any hype over Nick Harbor, despite what Harbor did in the Alabama game. He had 2 catches, but of course he had that spectacular catch. And, I'm talking about South Carolina now having a chance to maybe isolate Nick Harbor against that secondary of Oklahoma and use that speed and that height and maybe do some damage downfield and maybe get him involved in some other type of creative plays to get the ball in his hands. You got to take advantage of that speed. It'd be a real sin for them not to find a way to use a world-class sprinter that he is in some way to take advantage of that speed.
So I always love the guests that we have during football season, and this is not a knock against Mike Morgan, who I think is fabulous, but when we get Zach Willis on Mondays and then Chalk Talk on Wednesdays and then Corey and Will on Thursday nights, especially Corey and Will, because you get a player's perspective. And if you listen to Corey and what he said about Nick Harbor, I think it was spot on. The fact that he's a track guy and misses spring practice because he's working with the track team in the track program. Here's a guy who wants to ultimately compete in the Olympics. Kind of hard to argue with that as one of your dreams. And if I understood Corey correctly last night, he's not overly impressed with the routes that Nick Harbor runs. And I don't think you can just line it up and say run as fast as you can down the field every time and see if Lenore's can throw it to him. So, but yeah, I was kind of taken aback by some of the things that Corey said about him. But when you sort of dissect what he was saying, I don't know that he's that far off. I think there's still a lot of polish that needs to be made in Nick's game. He's that diamond in the rough. There's no question. I mean, the talent is there, the ability's there. They've just got to hone it into football ability.
All right, to Clemson, of course, hosting Virginia. Of course, Virginia, a very emotional day for them today, as Tony Bennett gave his departing press conference, and he basically said that as he put it, he's a round peg in a square hole in this new era of college sports. It's just not what he wants to do. He doesn't want to deal with everything that is now going on with college sports. He calls for some reforms. It's not that he's against the NIL or players, making money. I just think it's the lack of control, the lack of a true system that bugs him, and the way now that you have to recruit it's just not for him at the age of 55. So he's walking away. His assistant coach, Ron Sanchez, taking over as the head coach. People are questioning the timing. Well, obviously, the timing was so that they would have to promote from within. Yep. Dean Smith did the same thing.
That's
he waited
exactly
till the
why
last
he did it.
minute
You're right.
to retire. Yeah, so they would promote from within. So it's his it's a school's program, but he's been running it for all these years, and coaches want to have a say. A lot of coaches want to have a say in who the replacement is if they feel like they have a qualified guy. But the football team will be coming to Clemson on a mission for their head coach, Tony Elliott, of course. But I don't think they have enough horses to hang with the Tigers, especially the way Clemson is playing. They've got a lot of confidence going. They have gotten healthy. Seems like the one concern on this football team right now is the back end of their secondary, some of the safety positions back there, getting the right people playing together at the right time. So probably going to see Clemson roll it again over Virginia. I would not be surprised if they don't put up a bunch of points on the Cavaliers.
Yeah, I would think that Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks have, at least his players, have a lot better chance of making it a happy homecoming for Shane as opposed to Virginia's players making it a happy homecoming for Tony. I don't think it's apples to apples there. I think Virginia, as good as they have improved under Tony Elliott, especially considering the tragedy when you have 3 of your players shot and killed at the tail end of a football season. I don't know how any program recovered from that. So props to UVA and Tony Elliott for being able to just hold it all together. But it's going to take some time to build up there. And I would imagine they'll be patient with him because they understand what he's dealing with. And who knows, 5 years from now, where's Virginia going to be? You talk about patience in college football and college athletics. You might as well wait because there's no telling where you may be 4 or 5 years down the road. And your point about Tony Bennett, I think, is spot on, Phil. You're going to see, I think, middle-aged to late in their career basketball coaches who came in, say, back during the late 90s, 2000s, 2010s, prior to transfer portal. I don't think name, image, and likeness, pay for play. I don't think that's as big a deal and a big a bugaboo for basketball coaches as the transfer portal. I think that's what's chased most of them away. They don't want to deal with having to re-recruit. It's bad enough when you had to deal with the NBA and try and keep them out of the pro ranks. Now you've got to worry about them transferring out of your program after a year to go play somewhere else, possibly in your own league. So I think that's what's going to chase most of these coaches away. They just don't want to have to re-recruit guys they already spent 2-3 years trying to get to campus in the first place.
Yeah. Listen, Cliff Ellis was probably at the end of his rope anyway at Coastal Carolina at the age of 76. But that hastened his decision as well. I think the fact that he saw so many good players that he brought along, and then they up and go somewhere else and do very well and help another team do very well, and he's always having to replace. I think he got very frustrated. I think I was talking to Barkley Radebaugh, 20 years the coach at Charleston Southern. He was at SEC Media Days, and he's now working with a national coaches association and traveling the country, visiting with coaches, and as he said, coaching the coaches. And but he too, lost a lot of good players to transfers, and it's got to be frustrating when you develop a talent and then you lose them at the time when they're really about to blossom and can contribute in a big way. So I can understand that the feeling about that. All right, you got Louisiana coming to Coastal tomorrow as well. Homecoming for the Chanticleers tomorrow.
It was funny. Tim Beck was asked about that during his press conference on Wednesday because the easy question us and the media always throw at coaches, well, homecoming presents a lot of distractions. I don't know if that's actually true or not. I've never been on the football team side of it for a homecoming. But he said, you know what, and I hate to admit this out loud, but we really haven't even talked about homecoming this week. He said we have one job, and that's to win the game. And if the alumni are going to be happy if we win the game, if we don't win the game and they have a fabulous time around, they're still going to forget or remember that we didn't win the game. So they've got a big challenge tomorrow. Louisiana is a fine team, comes in 5-1. They are tied for first in the West Division. Best third down conversion team in the Sun Belt. They hold the football a lot. They're the leaders in time of possession. So Coastal, when they get the football, they're going to have to make sure that they take advantage of it because possessions may be at a minimum tomorrow.
All right, other games around the state tomorrow. You've got Furman at home to Western Carolina. Been a struggling season for the Paladins. I don't think any of us saw this coming for them. Wofford at UT Chattanooga. Presbyterian hosting their longtime rival from Drake. South Carolina State home to Fort Valley State. Charleston Southern hosting another longtime rival. Southwestern Missouri State. Newberry having a tough year. They play at Catawba, the Citadel, on a 4-game losing streak. Goes to VMI to play for the Silver Shako, the Silver Shako.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very. That's truly a very prized possession between those two schools. Erskine, which has been off for a while because of an open date and then the weather, they're playing at North Greenville. A loser last week to Valdosta State. Limestone having a terrific year. They're 5-1. They're going to host Wingate, and that's a big game in that league. Benedict and Allen get together for the Taylor Street Showdown. They're going to play it at Allen, which I guess will be at Westwood High School. And you've got Anderson coming off a win at Virginia Wise, taking on Emory and Henry in their first year. Trojans are 3-3 under Bobby Lamb, looking to get to a winning record. Up in New York, the Mets are laying it on the Dodgers 8-1, trying to stay alive in the series.
About time they showed up.
They're in the bottom of the third, and look, Yankees and Guardians last night. My God, what a classic baseball game!
Yes,
One of the all-time
really
great
good
playoff
game.
games. Obviously, I was crushed, but from a sporting standpoint, from a sports fan standpoint, it doesn't get any better than that. It just doesn't get any better than that. I'm not happy about it. I don't feel good for the Guardians or their fans, but from the standpoint of baseball and what's good for baseball and the fact that the playoffs are drawing huge TV numbers this year. And a lot of it has to do with the star power, of course. But that was one heck of a baseball game. Okay, it's a Friday night here in Oklahoma. A lot of good Oklahoma football around here. Went by some cities that I recognize the names of the towns, and I know they play really good high school football. But we got great high school football in South Carolina coming up tonight. It's time to find out more from David Shelton.
Turning face to stars and stripes, it's fighting back them butterflies, it's calling in the air, all right, yes sir, we want the ball, and it's knocking heads and talking trash, it's slinging mud and dirt and grass, it's I got your number, I got your back, when your back's against the wall, you mess with one man, you got us all.
A man so popular, so great in his business, he has his own theme song. Of course, he's the one that has to pay Kenny Chesney for the rights of that song to use it here on Sports Talk. And welcome in David Shelton, High School Sports Report, Charleston Post and Courier, Best in Business, out in a field somewhere tonight. Where are you setting up camp?
I'm literally just now setting up camp at Fort Dorchester High School. I just walked the bleachers and I'm out of breath.
All right, we'll take a deep breath and we'll give you a moment as we get ready to – I don't even know what week it is for high school football. Do you have any idea what week we're in actually?
I think we're in week 8.
Okay. And so, I mean, we should be getting towards the end of region play, but we have an extra week now that will carry into November. So we still have a little bit of a ball to play before we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we got – after tonight it'll be 2 weeks of the regular season, 2 games, and they extended the week. So, yeah, basically every team will have 2 games left except for the ones that got to make up games in the upstate. But I don't worry about that till the playoffs start.
I understand. What are you sensing so far in region play around the state? What are you seeing in some of the races, some of the regions around the state thus far?
Well, I think everything's kind of going according to plan or according to projections. The teams that we thought were going to be contending for region titles are, there's a couple of big games tonight, Ashley Reed, Somerville. The winner won't win the region, but pretty much will. Pretty much will be in control. Then you got Dutch Fork, Irmo in that region over there. Region 2 with Boiling Springs and Spartanburg, and gosh, who else is in that region? Gaffney and Byrne, LSU, Alabama. I mean, just whoever. But most of the regions are. There'll be a lot more clarity after tonight. There'll still be games to play. There's a couple of regions that are going to go down to the last Friday night, but those teams that get to 3-0 in the region tonight will certainly put themselves in position to at least, finish in a tie. And really, winning a region title is a pride thing. It really doesn't. Well, it will affect the playoffs in terms of seedings, but it's the postseason is really what all these teams are pointing towards.
Absolutely. Let's jump to some games. Let's go to 3A because I see 2 really good matchups here. You got Marlboro County, which is undefeated, going to play at Dillon. This has always been a heated rivalry. Marlboro's number 3, and Dillon is ranked number 6. And then you've got number 5, Woodruff, undefeated, at Mountain View, undefeated. That's number 5 against number 2. The turnaround at Marlboro County, what do you point to there?
Transfers. I mean, it's no secret. They've got like 16 new players from the state of North Carolina. I mean, they revamped their roster when the new coach came in from North Carolina. Some guys came with him, and guys from right across the border, Scotland County. They dramatically increased their talent level. I'll say that, and it doesn't sit well with a lot of people. Doesn't sit well with the people in Dillon, and they're going to find out tonight. But yeah, they've got a lot of transfers. Really good players. I mean, we're not talking about guys that just show up, 145-pound stat backs. We're talking football players. So not a surprise. I mean, I guess it could be a surprise when you have a new coach and new staff, and but when you got players and you got good coaches, and this guy has an impressive record. I think in 5 years he won like 60 games in North Carolina at one school, and they were like 15-1 last year. So Marlboro County got him, and then some of those players came over, and it's been a wide topic of conversation in the PD area. And, they got Loris next week. So Dillon and Loris have already played. Now Marlboro County has got the 2 best teams, the 2 best threats to them in back-to-back weeks.
Now, Dillon can't afford a loss as far as the region's concerned. They've already got one, having lost that game to Loris. Loris is undefeated in the region. What about this Mountain View team, inaugural season? Maybe got the best running back in the state. And this Woodruff team, which can score a ton of points. Great matchup there. What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of people will be interested to see how this game comes out because, Mountain View is having a great year and they've exceeded expectations, I think, being undefeated. But this will be the best team they play. I mean, Woodruff is going to be the best team they played. So it'll be very interesting to see how they handle that. Woodruff is a good team, can score a lot of points. They've got some impressive wins, but they've also got some wins where, where the competition wasn't as great. But for both teams tonight, it's a statement game. We'll find out. The folks in Woodruff have been kind of upset that Mountain View's been ranked ahead of them the whole year. Well, this is the way you combat that. You play them head to head, and you beat them, and you'll be ranked ahead of them.
Yep, it's prove it time. 5A, Spartanburg, Boiling Springs. That looks like that's a 9. Is that 9-10 matchup? Spartanburg 9, Boiling Springs 10, or 8-9 matchup, depending on how you want to look at it. That's a good matchup there. We talked about Boiling Springs in the past. They're having a good year, and it looks like Spartanburg's kind of putting it together now.
Yeah, this is another one of those measuring stick games. How good are these teams? They've got good records. They've beaten the people they're supposed to beat. Now they have to beat a really good team. So obviously one of these teams is going to win. But they're both really quality teams, and they're both having great years. It'll be an exciting atmosphere because it's been a while since, Boiling Springs has been really, really good. And, Spartanburg with Coach Hodge is kind of putting it together, in the rebuild mode. They got a big win over Dorman last week, which is huge. But, both these teams will be in the playoffs, and both these teams will be, playoff contenders. I mean, there'll be teams that can win some playoff games, but it'd be interesting to see how it turns out tonight because of the competition level. It's a step up for both teams.
Go to 2A and Hampton County, the new kids on the block. And, when they were created, they became a power right away. Ranked number 3, playing Barnwell tonight. Barnwell 6-1, ranked number 6. So this should be an excellent matchup over there.
Absolutely. It's going to be what I like to call slobber knocker. And that means it's going to be very physical, very intense. It's already a rivalry. Even before Hampton County, when it was Wade Hampton and Barnwell had a really good rivalry. So this just kind of lit the fire a little more. One of these two teams is, they got a shot to win Lower State in 2A. So this is a very good measuring stick for these two teams to find out. Barnwell, they both won games that they should have won. They've beaten some weaker opponents, but not weak tonight. It'll be a very good physical. I bet the stadium is probably already pretty close to full right now.
I bet it is. Sounds to me like you're standing on the field right in the middle of pregame calisthenics.
No, I'm in the press box, but the window's up, and they're out there doing jumping jacks and whatever else is they do before games. They make a lot of noise, I know that.
Somebody sounds excited. David, we thank you. We'll see you tonight on the high school football scoreboard. Have a great ball game.
Thanks, David.
Okay, take care.
David Shelton in place there at Fort Dorchester, so he's got a little rivalry action going on. Got some good rivalry games around the state tonight, and that's what you get when you get into region play. Don't forget the Founders Federal High School Football Scoreboard coming your way tonight, 10:05, as this is a Founders Federal Football Friday night here on Sports Talk. You got a favorite game you're going to be checking on tonight?
David, and we ran out of time. I wanted to get his take on Sumter Blythewood tonight. I think that'll be an interesting game. Plus, Sumter's going to be honoring Tylee Kraft, young man at North Carolina who passed away here recently. So I think it'll be an emotional game for Sumter as well.
All right, going to hit the break. Football filibuster is coming right up. Be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your Forecast. We're clear and cool tonight with the low dipping down to 43. Tomorrow is very nice, mostly sunny skies. We'll have a few clouds, the high clouds to 75, while on Sunday, even better, plentiful sunshine. 77 is the high, and next week, we'll stay dry. We'll see a lot of sun there also. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting a fast-moving brush fire has prompted the evacuation of an Oakland neighborhood and damaged at least 4 structures. Friday's fire comes as forecasters have issued red flag warnings for fire danger until Saturday from the Central Coast through the San Francisco Bay Area and into northern Shasta County not far from the Oregon border. A California utility shut off power in 19 counties in the northern and central part of the state. Demonstrators who blame the Indian government for a murder-for-hire scheme targeting a Sikh separatist leader living in New York City have protested outside Manhattan Courthouse after a hearing for a defendant charged in the plot. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 36 points. The Nasdaq rose 115. More details at srnnews.com.
If you are 65 or older, lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. How often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
The fall in Casey, West Columbia is so wonderful, and now it's time for Rhythm on the River, proudly presented by the Greater Casey, West Columbia Chamber. This week, one party's not enough at Riverwalk Amphitheater, so this Thursday, it is time to jam. With Cash Money Experience, what a party! Then on Friday, check out Curve, formerly known as Nahi Groove. There'll be great food trucks, great music, and the best atmosphere. It's Rhythm on the River. For more information on this and all events, check out www.visitcwcsc.com.
Questions about Medicare? I'm Joel Lurie, and at Lurie Life and Health, we can help you find the plan that meets your needs and budget. The Medicare annual enrollment period is from October 15th to December 7th. Why use an out-of-state call center when you can work with a local agency? Lurie Life and Health. We're local, independent, and can help you over the phone or in our office. And our service is at no cost to you. Call Lurie Life and Health in Columbia, 803-256-2066.
The hunting season is here. Whether you hunt in the woods or near the water, Palmetto State Armory has you covered with everything you need for the season. PSA has a complete inventory of AR-style rifles, bolt-action rifles, shotguns, ammunition, outdoor apparel, decoys, and more from all of your favorite brands. Visit PalmettoStateArmory.com to find the store nearest you. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Hey y'all, my name's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. It is football at Flight Deck. We're thrilled about football season. Of course, when you're watching football, there's nothing better than wings and ice cold adult beverages. We here at Flight Deck are offering some of the most delicious meaty wings that you'll ever wrap your lips around. Flight Deck Restaurant's got hot flamethrower barbecue wings, teriyaki wings, honey mustard wings. Flight Deck will be featuring Carolina and Clemson football on all the TVs all the time. So come see some great football, enjoy great wings, and sip some ice cold adult beverages. Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks y'all and God bless.
every time I visit a new state, Oklahoma, this being the case, I always like to compare their state, their government to our state and our government and our leaders and our former leaders. Out here in Oklahoma, 80 miles an hour on I-44, which is also known as Route 66, the very famous Route 66. 80 miles an hour, which means people are driving 85 without any fear of being stopped, because they give you 4 or 5 miles an hour. Won't they give you about 4 or 5 miles an hour, Josh? I think you learned firsthand
you need to ask
today
Josh
about
that.
Yeah.
I won't comment. I'll just say that.
Usually they give you 4 or 5 miles an hour.
The speed limit is the limit, Phil.
Usually they give you 4 miles an hour, but no.
All right, and so we welcome in Governor Jim Hodges, one of South Carolina's top 20 all-time living governors. He's flying solo tonight because General Wilson he's out. Is he in Taiwan? Is that where he is?
I think so. He's there causing some sort of international incident, I'm sure.
I hope he doesn't start a war over there. If we see maneuvers pick up, from across the sea there, we'll know why it started. But when you were governor, did you ever want to push the speed limit? Now, when you were governor, was it 55 or was that 70 back then?
I'm not that old. No, it was 70 and I think 70, 75 in some places. But we did actually increase it when I was in the legislature. But as you pointed out, speed limit is more of a speed suggestion than
And it's left up to each state, right? Each state has the right to set their own speed limits?
maybe different on the interstate highways, but they generally do. If you want fast driving, try the Autobahn in Germany, where they zip past you at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, if you have a car that can go that fast.
Yeah, they do.
yeah. All right, great to have you with us. I've got the picks from the general, so I will play his role against you. And let's see, both of you went 3-2 last week. And so the general has a 2-game lead. He's 19-16. You are 17-18. What did you think about last week? Who let you down the most?
Well, I was actually pleased. The Gamecocks, I picked against the Gamecocks, thinking that Alabama would play an awful lot better than they had. And I was very pleased at that. So that was the game that, I would have been 4-1 if I'd gotten that one right, but I was very happy to be 3-2.
Yep. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You just got to chop, keep chopping wood.
That's right.
All right, let's get to
left.
it. Oh, yeah. We got 5 games for you tonight, and, of course, they're all against the spread, and we're going to use the spread that we had from just a couple of days ago, so if things have changed, so be it. And I mentioned that because we're going to start with Notre Dame at Georgia Tech, and the news became official today that Haynes King is out as the quarterback at Georgia Tech. They're going to have to go to the backup because of an injury to him. So we're still rolling with an 11.5-point line for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech getting 11.5. It might even have gone up now with that news getting out against Notre Dame. So in Atlanta, surprised that the Yellow Jackets, their administration didn't sell this game to, I don't know, maybe Jacksonville or something, but they are going to play it at Grant Field in Atlanta. What do you think? Notre Dame favored by 11.5.
Well, I would have picked Georgia Tech, but with that news regarding the quarterback change there, I think I'm going to take Notre Dame.
All right, and the general took Notre Dame as well. So he's thinking along those same lines. Don't know if he's aware. If he's out in Taiwan, news moves kind of slowly out there, so don't know if he's aware of the quarterback issue or not, but he took the Irish. Alabama and Tennessee, of course, always the third Saturday, October. Hope this never changes. Alabama, Tennessee, long-time rivalry. Tennessee at home is getting 3 points. I'm a little surprised about that. What do you think?
I'm a little surprised, too, but Tennessee has not been particularly impressive in SEC play. They've struggled and barely beat a Florida team that's not very good. I'm going to take Bama. I think Bama's going to have a bounce back this week, and the freshman quarterback is showing he's a freshman for Tennessee.
Well, we'll see. You know, Alabama has had really 6 uninspiring quarters, I would say, in a row by their standards for their fans. You know, they had the great first half against Georgia, got dominated in the second half, had that 4-quarter struggle against the Gamecocks. That's not the kind of Alabama team their fans are used to seeing. So
it's not. But I think you'll see a much better Alabama team. And again, I think this Tennessee team is not offensively what it was. A little better defensively, but not as good offensively as it has been the past 5 years.
All right.
And don't forget, Phil, the 4 quarters they didn't play against Vanderbilt, too.
That is correct, yes. I forgot about those 4 quarters, yeah. So maybe you add that all up, it becomes 10 quarters of unimpressive, uninspired football by Alabama. Let's go to Georgia at Texas. Another great matchup in the
Who did the general pick on that one?
Oh, I'm sorry. He took Tennessee.
Okay.
So you guys differ. You got Alabama. He's got Tennessee. My bad. Georgia at Texas, a much anticipated game. Texas at home is favored by 4.5. Who you got?
Well, the sexy pick is Texas, but they have not had a game this year in which they played a little under what they had earlier. So I'm going to take Georgia to at least keep this close and maybe win.
All right. General's taking Georgia as well. He likes the Bulldogs here. Let's go to Virginia at Clemson in Death Valley. The Tigers are 21-point favorites. What you got?
Is Tony Bennett coaching or not?
I think he's going on a long vacation. Going on a long vacation.
Then I'm taking Clemson.
Clemson all the way for you.
Yep.
All right. Don't disagree with that. And out here in Oklahoma, why don't we have oil wells in South? When you were governor, why didn't you order the implementation of oil wells in South Carolina?
I think that would be called dry holes in South Carolina. So, but you know, a little trivia: if you go to the governor's mansion or you go to the State House in Oak City, there is a beautiful picture of Mickey Mantle in there on the ground floor. So if you get a chance to go in there, it's a sort of a life-size portrait of the Mick.
How about that? I'd like to check that out. Okay, so will the Gamecocks hit the home run here, or will it be the Sooners?
Well, I don't know about a home run, but I really believe the Gamecocks are going to win this. It's clearly both of these teams struggle offensively, but I think we're a little better than they are. And I think that Carolina's going to have a little confidence coming out of last week offensively. So I think we're going to win it by a field goal.
By a field goal. The Gamecocks are getting 1.5. You like them by a field goal. The General also likes the Gamecocks. So there's a lot of confidence on the Gamecock side. That's a dangerous thing historically for USC in these kind of settings. They get all built up and feeling good about themselves. I mean, just like when they played Ole Miss, felt real good about themselves and went out there and laid an egg. I don't expect that tomorrow. I expect them to play a good football game, play like they did against Alabama, but maybe we'll see if they can cut out the mistakes. Whichever offense can cut out the mistakes, because both of them continue to hurt themselves. If one of them can eliminate those mistakes, that's going to be the side that wins, because I think both defenses are going to keep their team in the game. So the General is taking the Gamecocks as well. So you guys agree on 4 of the 5. The only difference is Alabama, Tennessee. Would you like to amend anything?
I don't think so. I think I'll stick with those differences.
Okay. So Gamecocks, Tigers, Georgia, Notre Dame for the 2 of you, and you're riding with Alabama. He's taking Tennessee. Where are you this weekend?
I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. I actually went up to Asheville middle of the week to check on our place, and things are okay there, but still a lot of problems in Western North Carolina and South Carolina. But I'm home for the weekend.
Did you get a chance to swing through the city of Asheville? How's it looking if you did?
Yeah, actually, our place is in the city. There's the real issue down by the river. Of course, it looks like a war zone. But the real issue remains the water has been cut off. The water supply has been cut off, so they're struggling to get that back in place as quickly as possible. It's going to take them probably another 2 to 4 weeks to get that in the city of Asheville.
Well, I'm glad things are working out well on your property. We wish everybody the best in western North Carolina and up in the mountains of western South Carolina and the mountains of North Carolina. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Governor.
Bet. See you
Thank
guys.
you very much. Governor Jim Hodges, football filibuster tonight, as the General, Alan Wilson, is in Taiwan, we are told. So, what time is it in Taiwan?
It's like Tuesday of next week, isn't it?
Is it? Is that what it is? Well, come home
They
safely,
are ahead
General.
of us. They're not that far ahead of us, though.
Don't let the Chinese know. Don't identify yourself as a general. They'll think a general from the United States Army is there, and that might start some sort of military action because they'll think the Americans are over there, trying to boost the Taiwanese. That could cause an international incident.
It's 6:45 in the morning on Saturday in Taiwan.
There we go.
There you go.
So,
Okay.
12
Because
hours
he
ahead,
sent me a text. I got a text from him just a little while ago, so he must be up early. He was saying it was very spotty with the cell service and all that. So that would have been cool to have him on from there. But I understand.
And then we could have called Chris Deering, who was at a Chinese professional basketball game last night. We could have gotten a report on that as well.
It's so,
we could
Chris,
take Sports Talk Global, Phil.
to be at a sporting event while he's working in China to find some sporting event. I'm surprised it's not a high school basketball game, the way he loves high school sports and covers that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our break, and then we'll come back and give you the picks of the prestigious Sports Talk Pick'em panel and update the standings of that red-hot competition. Who's getting it done and who's being a dummy? We'll find out about that. We got recruiting coming up as well. You know who's being a dummy?
Yes.
You're not raising your
This
hand,
guy.
are you?
This guy.
All right, we've got that coming up for you after the break. And, of course, Lee Sterling picks as well around the corner. We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, let's say I'm out in the woods or I'm on the water and I need to reach a DNR agent. How do I do that?
Operation Game Thief, Phil. It's been around plus years. You can call us at our 24-hour hotline any time of day, 1-800-922-5431. To report wildlife violations or to get help if you're in trouble in the woods or on the water, call us at Operation Game Thief, 1-800-922-5431.
Some insurance carriers are based in another state or only have an online presence. Not at Farm Bureau Insurance. They're a local South Carolina company that believes commitment comes with a handshake. Become part of the Farm Bureau Insurance family today by calling Buddy Bridges at 864-984-0413 or stop by the Upstate office at 726 East Main Street in Lawrence.
Set your youth up for a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Start products and educational resources help teach kids and teens the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Help them learn smart money skills to jumpstart their financial journey with Smart Start savings, debit, certificates, and educational resources. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Great things don't happen all at once. Big dreams take time. And when it comes to saving for college, it's those small steps that make a difference. I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, is designed to be taken step by step. You can start with any amount, contributions are tax deductible, and earnings tax-free. So why wait? Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home tea will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Last throw, big guy.
Come on, baby. I need me a giant bear.
I got this. Eye on the target. Then throw. Oh, well, look who won a giant bear. That's a grizzly.
Oh, Mama's baby bear.
When you join the South Carolina Education Lottery's Players Club, you get way more than you expect. More chances, more wins, and more surprises.
Yeah, he's had all his shots. Just don't look him in the eye.
Join the Players Club at seeducationlottery.com because more happens here.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Now, Sports Talk Picks, brought to you by Experience Columbia SC, right here on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Continuing here on a Founders Federal Football Friday night. Don't forget the scoreboard short tonight at 10:05. Looking forward to them here in Oklahoma. All right, let's get to the picks of our prestigious panel for the Palmetto Sports Talk Pick'em Challenge. And as we go into this weekend, we have Don Williams and we have Rick Sanford tied for the lead, 20-15. Next comes, very strong. Next come Teddy and yours truly at 19-16. Following at 18-17 would be Fran and Bobby, Kevin and Jim, Josh and Smitty. Very tight race there. Pat checks in at 16-19. Chris, you're not in last. You're 15-20.
If you're not first, you're last, Phil.
And Allen is last at 13-22. So let's get
Watch
to our
out for
picks for
Smitty.
this week.
Watch out for Smitty. He's gotten hot.
Starting to get a little warm. All right, so I was 3-2 last week. And so I'm going to go with, I'm taking South Carolina. Give me the 1.5. I don't think I'll need it, but I'll take it. I'm taking Clemson laying the 21. Give me Texas at home. I just think they're really, really, really good. And Georgia, a little something bothers me about Georgia. What was it about the Formula One race there this weekend?
Yeah, there's a joke going around Twitter today that how dare Austin schedule a Formula One race on Sunday when Georgia's football team is in town.
Got some excellent drivers available if anybody drops out. Guys that
And
know
they love
how to
high speeds.
handle. Exactly. I'm taking Tennessee at home, getting the 3. I mean, Alabama hasn't been impressive in a while. And I'm going to take, with the issue at quarterback, if Haynes King were playing, maybe I'd go with Tech. I'm going to go with Notre Dame, laying the 11.5. That's a big number. I'm going to roll with it. And you're going to do what?
I'm going to go with Oklahoma, actually. I waffled back and forth on this, and I saw a stat that came out last night after out of Coach Beamer's show that the last 9 times Oklahoma has lost in the Red River rivalry, it won its next game. And they've not lost 2 straight home games since 2014. I just think they bounce back. I think Carolina will play well tomorrow. This won't be Ole Miss again. There's something missing with that football team, and until they find it, I'm not confident enough to take them on the road, especially at a place like Oklahoma. So I'll take OU to win. I'm going to go with Clemson to win and cover, obviously. I'm going to take Texas as well. I think Texas is the best team in the country, and they've got a chance to really prove it tomorrow at home. I'm going to go with Tennessee like you, and then I will take Notre Dame as well.
All right. Josh, you have been a little bit under the influence of drugs this week, so perhaps that will help you with
This
your
might be
picks
perfect
because
for him.
you did go 4-1 last week. So what do you got this week?
Oh, I got Carolina, Clemson, I got Georgia, I got Alabama, and I got Notre Dame. Georgia Tech's quarterback's going to be out. It's Notre Dame.
JP's going to that game tomorrow. He's all fired up.
Yeah, that's what I
John
hear.
Patrick Barry. Yep. All right, we got
How did he get
Dr.
to be
Rick
such a big Notre
Sanford.
Dame fan? Do we know?
He's told me the story about that. I think maybe had some family up there or something, or some connection. But yeah, he loves the Irish. Dr. Rick Sanford, number 1 draft pick, All-American. Just ask him. He's going with the Gamecocks and Clemson and Texas. He's taking Tennessee and Georgia Tech. Smitty, Matt Smith, taking South Carolina. He's taking Virginia. He wants those points. He thinks that's enough. Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame. Patrick Daniel going to ride with Oklahoma. And Pat is taking Virginia and the points. He's also taking Texas, Alabama, and Georgia Tech. Kevin Cohen, the landlord, he likes South Carolina and Clemson and Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame. Bobby Harton, the big kahuna, the voice of Charleston, South Carolina, Clemson, Texas, Alabama, Notre Dame for him. Fran, the money coach, Halloran. He likes Oklahoma, then Virginia and Texas, Tennessee, and Georgia Tech. Teddy, I'm so sexy without my shirt, Hefner. If you ever seen Teddy without his shirt, you know what I'm talking about. He likes the Gamecocks and Clemson, and he's taking Texas, he's taking Alabama and Notre Dame. Allen, the bad boy of Sports Talk Radio, smothers all over Oklahoma and Clemson and Georgia, Tennessee, and Georgia Tech. Jim Corbett, attorney for the Stars, he's picking the Gamecocks and Clemson, Texas, Alabama, Notre Dame. And Big Daddy Don Williams, godfather of Sports Talk, he likes Oklahoma. He said, give me all the home teams except give me Alabama over Tennessee. So he's taking Oklahoma, Clemson, Texas, Alabama, Georgia Tech. There you go, the Palmetto Sports Talk Pick'em Challenge. Yes, we'll see what happens.
In there. Yeah.
Things are tight. Only a 1 pick difference between the top 2, and then only another pick difference between the next large group. So it's a heated competition where the winner gets absolutely nothing. Not even a pat on the back,
We should make
Hardly
make a big trophy for it.
any acknowledgement. We should. It's not a bad idea. We should really put some money. Should really put some money into it.
Yeah, I don't go that far.
The Corn
Cup. Cup goes to the governor. Yes.
Yeah, that's the football filibuster. That's already been spoken for. So, all right, coming up on the top of the hour, we'll have Lee Sterling and his Sterling picks coming up. He didn't do so hot last week, did he?
No, he did not. He had a rough week.
I think he missed me not being here.
I think so.
I'm sort of his security blanket. Yeah, he went 0-3. Not to mention, he said something crazy about Lenore Sellers ending up playing tight end one day.
Or linebacker. Said he would not be a quarterback next year, in his opinion.
Well, I think he's going to miss the mark on that. But this will be bounce back week for him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Could be bounce back week for him. So he'll be coming up. We'll have some recruiting notes for you. Clemson's got a home game, so they got some folks coming in for visits over the weekend, and other targets are heading somewhere else. And, of course, Georgia landed another major commitment from in their state, a guy that South Carolina and Clemson had recruited but kind of fell short with over time. Big defensive tackle out of Georgia. So we'll tell you about all that coming up. We'll have Jeff Owens in the fast lane looking ahead to the race in Las Vegas. And, of course, 7:35, George Bryan, birdies, bogeys, and biceps around South Carolina. So a busy hour is coming up. We'll be back after this break right here on Sports Talk.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. After its leader Yahya Sinwar was confirmed killed by the Israeli military, the terrorist group Hamas reiterated its stance that hostages they took from Israel a year ago will not be released until there's a ceasefire in Gaza and a withdrawal of Israeli troops. But White House National Security spokesman John Kirby says the Biden administration believes now is the time to restart peace talks that stalled weeks ago.
I don't want to speculate, but I suspect that if and when we can get those talks back in place, the starting point will be where we left it. Where that goes, I just don't know. We're not in a position right now where serious negotiations are in the offing.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said a day earlier that his country's military will keep fighting until the hostages are released and will remain in Gaza to prevent a severely weakened Hamas from rearming. There will be yet another government investigation into aircraft manufacturer Boeing's safety compliance.
The government announces its continued close oversight of Boeing, which intensified after a panel blew off an Alaska Air jet mid-flight in January. The FAA says its review will examine key areas of safety procedures. Last week, the Transportation Department's Inspector General said there are weaknesses in FAA's oversight. The auditor said the FAA failed to ensure Boeing and its suppliers are meeting engineering and design requirements for parts, and that it's failed to investigate claims Boeing's putting improper pressure on its safety inspectors. I'm Jackie Quinn.
On Wall Street, the Dow up by 36 points, the Nasdaq rose 115, the S&P 500 advanced 23. More on these at townhall.com.
You just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free, it's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
The Pope is dead. From Focus Features comes the electrifying new film, Conclave.
We're about to choose the most famous man in the world.
Based on the international best-selling thriller.
The Pope discovered something before he died.
Rafe Fiennes, Tucci.
Ambition becomes corruption.
John Lithgow and Isabella Rossellini.
We sisters have eyes and ears.
Top critics are raving. Conclave is hands down the best picture of the year.
I had to find the truth.
Conclave, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters October 25th.
Is the electric vehicle Tesla's self-driving system more dangerous when the road is hard to see? Correspondent Jennifer King reports the federal government plans to find out.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is investigating Tesla's full self-driving system after multiple crashes in low visibility conditions. The probe could affect 2.4 million vehicles from 2016 onward. Government documents say the agency opened the investigation on Thursday after the company reported 4 crashes. In one, a pedestrian was killed. Sun glare, fog, and airborne dust can obscure details on the road. Investigators are looking into the system's ability to detect and respond appropriately and contributing circumstances, like whether updates affected the system's performance. Tesla has had to recall the system before, in part because it was disobeying stop signs and traffic laws. Jennifer King, Washington.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. We're clear and cool tonight with the low dipping down to 43. Tomorrow is mostly sunny skies. We'll have a few clouds, the high clouds to 75, while on Sunday, even better. Plentiful sunshine. 77 is the high, and next week, we'll stay dry. We'll see a lot of sun there also. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Welcome back back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Sports Talk on this Founders Federal Football Friday night here in Oklahoma. And, of course, back in South Carolina. Great to have you with us. Looking forward to a busy night of high school football. Don't forget the high school scoreboard coming your way at 10:05 tonight. David Shelton will join me. We'll have all the scores for you. We'll have some reports. We'll hear from Coach Scott Early and some other coaches around the state. So we got all that coming up for you a little bit later on tonight for the high school scoreboard, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union at 10:05 tonight. So make sure that you join us for that. Right now, we are efforting to get Lee Sterling on the line with us, and in just a moment, as soon as Josh gives me the acknowledgments, we will go to Lee. Let's go to Lee. All right, time for Sterling Picks here on Sports Talk with Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. Lee, great to have you with us. We were having trouble getting through on your phone there for a moment, and we were concerned you went out of business after going 0-3 last week.
For your show wasn't a good week. It was a great week for me, though. Just sometimes we're picking the games. Obviously, the Clemson and South Carolina game every week doesn't work out for our clients. We had that 5 for 55 promotion. We went 4-1 both days, including a 40 to 50 unit max wager play. So there's been a couple of weeks we've gone 3-0, and it didn't work out so well. But over the whole year, it's been a great year. We actually have won 6 out of 7 weeks.
Oh, I know you're red hot. Where can people go to get all the good stuff?
Just go to the website, ParamountSports.com. How about this? When NBA starts on Tuesday night, it'll be the only couple weeks of the year where every single sport is going on. Baseball playoffs, hockey's already started, basketball, football, and we even do the UFC. So
busy man. And, of course, keeping an eye on the baseball playoffs as well. The Dodgers have cut into that lead. It's now 10-5 in the top of the fifth. The Mets are making another pitching change. Okay, let's go to your games for us. Bounce back week for you. That's what I feel. A bounce back week. Let's begin with Alabama and Tennessee, with Alabama the 3-point favorite here. Are you a little surprised they're the favorite?
I was. That's an astute. There's a couple of lines that surprised me. The Missouri line being only 4.5. I thought that would open 6.5, 7, but maybe they don't think Missouri is for real. And I thought this line was going to be close to a pick'em. Is that what you thought the line was going to be?
Yep.
Okay. So both teams have some problems here. Alabama's defense, they've given up obviously 25 last week, 40 the week before, 34 2 weeks ago. They got a problem there. I think it's tough to fix a defense midseason. All of a sudden you just can't scheme up and get players who are averaging 2 tackles a game to all of a sudden make 4, 5, 6 tackles a game. Now, Tennessee all of a sudden can't push the ball down the field. Last 2 games, 13 for 38 on throws, 10 or more yards downfield. I'm not saying Josh Heupel is a quarterback whisperer, but I think he's got a better chance probably straightening out his quarterback than Alabama's defense all of a sudden becoming a stingy unit here. And also the Tennessee wide receiver core could be getting healthier. I'll take Tennessee 26-24.
Tennessee 26-24 with a cover.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's go to another big one, man. Texas favored by 4 against Georgia. Keep in mind here, you have to work in the distraction for the Georgia football players because they got that F1 race in Austin this weekend. They might have their minds on driving their cars more than driving against the Longhorns.
I don't know if you know this. People think that the football stadium is big. There are 100,000. The track holds, I think, over 325,000 fans. Crazy.
Wow.
Hotel rooms going. I have a friend who's there. He goes, I could rent out space on my floor for $500 a person. So hotel rooms, $1,500 for a Super 8. So tells you what's going on. I think it's going to be a great game. Now, I think Texas might have the better talent, but Georgia, at least I know what their A game is all about. And they showed it against Clemson when they won 34-3. Held Clemson to 188 total yards. And since that game, they piled up between 405 and 712. And I think this is a desperate team. Their backs are against the wall here. Not going to be intimidated after playing in Alabama. I like Georgia. Wrong team favored, 30-24.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
Keep an eye on that. Let's go to Clemson, Virginia. Homecoming for Tony Elliott, but no love lost when they're between the lines. They'll be doing their loving afterwards because Sweeney does love Elliott. They're very close. But he's a 21-point favorite.
Yeah, and Tony Elliott, how about this? Since he took over for Bronco Mendenhall, best record in the ACC against the spread, 12-5-1. Quarterback isn't great, not going to be a professional player, but Anthony Calandria, 6 foot, 183 pounds, probably soaking wet. This kid can play. He'll keep you in games here. He's a lot better than Hank Bachmeier is. And I think Clemson wins 38-20. I think the line's just getting a little too high right now, even though Clemson's a much better team. I'll take Virginia in the points.
All right, let's go to South Carolina, Oklahoma. You're playing this with Oklahoma favored by 2. I mean, that's a little bit of a respect for the Gamecocks by the gambling world to only show them as a 2-point dog against one of the blue blood programs in college football.
Well, it just shows you that Oklahoma's come that far down in just a matter of weeks. So also look at the totals. This kind of gives you an idea what Oklahoma's all about now. So in 2022 season, they averaged the totals on the games that Oklahoma played was 64.5. This is the lowest total on a game, 41, since 2009 on an Oklahoma game. Their offense just not getting it done. Their defense played well until right before halftime, and there's just too much stress on them. They were on the field too long here. Their defense leads the SEC in takeaways. Gamecocks aren't chopped liver here with 2 and 3 point losses to Bama and LSU. But question is, how much do they have left in the tank after that's, here for a second straight road game after taking the Tide right now to the wire? This might be the game that Sellers throws a couple interceptions. OU's going to have to get some more offense here if they want to start winning games. I like OU. Not a strong play, though, 24-20.
Another close loss for the Gamecocks. They'll be drinking heavily in Columbia if they have another close one like that.
Right.
Your free play of the weekend, LSU favored by 3 against Arkansas.
Wow. If it's anything like that LSU game last week against Ole Miss, we're going to have some fun in this game here. So anyone wants to get it. First 5 callers. Call 800-400-9741. We will give you the game for free. 800-400-9741. Game is on me. And like I said, check out all the specials. We have Locktober, everything from now through the end of the month. $197 works out to like $14-15 a day. And also the UFC. Got a 5-fight card, $35 included a 40 to 50 unit max wager. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
All right, my friend, you have a great weekend. Good luck to you, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. See you, Phil.
Thank you. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. He visits with us and many other radio shows across the country. He's one of the best in the business. He has his down weekends. Most times he's up pretty good, I would say. Any thoughts, Mr. Bergen, before we get to recruiting?
No, not at all. I was just sitting here fascinated reading a story. I did not realize this, but it has nothing to do with Lee's picks. But the ACC network, for whatever reason, did not carry Tony Bennett's press conference today live. What's the point of having a league-devoted network if you're not going to carry one of the biggest stories in the league this week?
What is that all about?
Exactly. I have no idea. They put it on their alternate, website channel or whatever. But, yeah, didn't show it on ACC network. I did not realize that.
Well, that is just flat out dumb. They were probably replaying a semifinal women's soccer tournament game from last year. If I know the ACC network and how they operate.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's a big miss right there.
That is. My gosh, that's the biggest story. Actually, I mean, that trumps anything in football in the ACC so far this week. They did have a game last night. Virginia Tech beat Boston College impressively at home. And tonight, Florida State's playing at Duke. You know, Florida State has never lost to Duke, 22-0 against the Blue Devils. Let's see if that. A lot of things are ending for Florida State this season. Let's see if that's one of them. Okay, to recruiting we go here on Sports Talk. And recruiting is brought to you by the great people at Seawells. Hope you can get out to Seawells next week, Tuesday through Friday, for the daily luncheon buffet for only $14.50. It's a great lunch. You will walk away from it feeling really, really full. But that's on you. You eat as much as you want. And that's Tuesday through Friday at their location, 1125 Rosewood Drive. And if you need the very best in the catering world, let Seawells handle your special event. Give them a call at 803-771-7385. Online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. All right, several notes for you, beginning with one-time Clemson USC target, defensive tackle Elijah Griffin. He committed to Georgia. Another big pickup there. Safety Jordan Young of Monroe, North Carolina, plans to visit Clemson tomorrow for what will be at least his fourth visit with the Tigers this calendar year. He was at NC State last weekend. He will visit Michigan next weekend before a November 2nd announcement. This was reported by On3. 2026 Dorman safety, Kentavian Anderson, going to be at Clemson Saturday. Clemson target, 26 offensive tackle Adam Guthrie, will be at Texas, as will another Clemson target, 26 linebacker Tyler Atkinson. Receiver Donovan Murph of Irmo will be at Tennessee, along with USC and Clemson target, 26 receiver Ryan Mosley. Also at Tennessee this weekend, Clemson target, 26 linebacker Deion Forepaugh. 26 running back Jalen McGill of Mountain View going to Tennessee. Also going to Tennessee, Clemson USC target, 26 tackle Bear McWhorter. Receiver Brody Keefe, been a USC target, and some Clemson interest. He'll be at Tennessee. Leo Delaney, offensive tackle, 26 class, USC Clemson target, will be at Tennessee. 26 athlete Tony O'Banner of Thomas Hayward plans to be at Clemson. 26 Clemson target, offensive lineman Grant Wise, will be at Tennessee. 27 quarterback Mason Holtzclaw of Piedmont and Arden, North Carolina, will be at Clemson. Clemson target, 26 linebacker Storm Miller, was offered by Oklahoma. USC target, 26 defensive tackle Trayshawn Ruffin. Well, he was offered by LSU and Ohio State, and then today he committed to Texas A&M. 26 offensive tackle Zion Giles of Carvers Bay, offered by Vanderbilt and Colorado. Missed this in September. 26 shortstop Ethan Offing of Dutch Fork committed to Clemson. He's also the quarterback on the football team. And point guard Aaliyah Chavez, regarded as the nation's #1 basketball recruit for the women in the 25 class. She's taking her official visit to Oklahoma this weekend. And she's got South Carolina in her Final Five with Oklahoma, Texas, Texas Tech, and UCLA. I think she's already visited South Carolina. There you go with recruiting. Tonight on Sports Talk, always brought to you by Seawells. After the break, time to go racing. Not Formula One racing. We're going to talk NASCAR, and they're going to be in Las Vegas as we get to the round of 8, leading to the round of 4, leading to an ultimate champion this NASCAR season. Jeff Owens will join us in the fast lane in just a moment. Don't go away.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are special. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 7 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me. Alex Satterfield at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller-Brown. Did you know it's possible to avoid probate court after you die, regardless of what you own? Why put your loved ones through a long, stressful public process when there are better options for your family? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy. And find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft, get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
Love it when it's forward, love it when it's fast, love it when the leaders call the pack is moving past, love it when they're making lots and lots of noise, can't wait to hear these W's say.
Boogity, 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 boogie. Let's go racing, boys. Running out of races for this NASCAR season as they move into the round of 8 in the playoffs. And what a week it was with the race last weekend at the Roval and everything that happened afterwards. Let's welcome in Jeff Owens in the fast lane with us once again here on Sports Talk. Welcome in, sir. I know NASCAR did not enjoy doing what it had to do last week, but it had to do what it had to do.
It did. I mean, you feel really bad for Alex Bowman. I mean, that guy raced his heart out. You know, he got into the playoffs with a win in July at Chicago on the street course, and really, he was having a great playoff. He had scored more points during the playoffs than any other driver, and legitimately advanced to the final 8. And then they get popped for a violation, and obviously it was a pretty bad violation because Hendrick Motorsports didn't even appeal it. They basically admitted that they made a mistake. Either it was a really bad mistake or they were intentionally trying to cheat.
Yeah.
Because there was a big gap there.
Which do you think it was?
Well, 17 pounds is a lot to be underweight. I don't know how you do that, and I've heard drivers and crew chiefs this week say, I don't know of a 17-pound part that can fall off the car. So you have to believe that maybe, either there was a really gross mistake made or they were trying to bend the rules a little bit. You know, I suppose it is possible. You know, he did have an incident early in the race where his car, you know, he hopped the curb and his car came off the ground and slammed back into the pavement. So I suppose there's a possibility that could have, you know, done something. They haven't said, and that tells you right there that, you know, maybe they were, you know, didn't want to tell you what happened, but bad break for him. Just you know, hate to see that, and that puts Joey Logano in the final 8, and so here we go, and it's going to be fun to see what happens over the next 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Jeff, which is more ridiculous, though? What happened with Alex Bowman, or the situation that we found out earlier this week with Joe Gibbs Racing, where an engineer allegedly stole and sold the intellectual property of the team? I'm not sure I've ever heard that from NASCAR. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah. I think that's as I understand it, an engineer was out looking for another job with another team, and they offered him cash to bring, you know, some notes and some proprietary information with him, and he apparently took that cash. You know, I've never heard of that happening in the sport either, but it doesn't surprise me. Not as competitive as things are these days. You know, money talks. You know, we've had incidents in the past where guys have left teams, and you know, it's sort of an unwritten rule. You know, you don't give away stuff, but it happens. We've heard it happening before, but this is a little bit different in a guy getting paid for it. You know, that's where things look really bad. So we'll see where that shakes out. You know, the weird thing about it is there's nothing in the NASCAR rule book that makes that against the rules. So this is a team issue. It really doesn't have anything to do with NASCAR. I suspect there's probably going to be some lawsuits involved, but it's something that a team has to work out itself, and that's another crazy incident.
All right, let's talk about Vegas real quick. As I recall, we had a great race there in the spring, and do you foresee another day of very tight racing with this thing coming right down to the end there with maybe championship contenders, maybe somebody else getting up in there and having another really close finish?
Yeah, it should. Well, we should be at the point in the season where these playoff guys are stepping up. And if you look at the top of the standings right now, it's kind of the way it should be, but based on the way they performed this season. And I expect all those guys to be going after it at Vegas. So I do believe we're at the point of the season where I'd be surprised if we see, you know, a surprise winner. I think it's going to be your playoff guys slugging it out. I think it'll be a good race unless Kyle Larson stinks the show up again. He won this race last year. Hendrick has won. He's won the last 2 there, and Hendrick has won the last 3. So I think he's a heavy favorite, and we'll see what these other guys have got for him.
You like Larson right now to go ahead and win the whole thing when we get around to the championship race? Is he your odds-on favorite to win the whole thing at this point?
I think so. I think he's the favorite, but you know, Christopher Bell has been very solid all year long. You know, you get to that final race and you have no idea. You know, I certainly think this stage favors Kyle Larson. You got 2.5 mile tracks there. Martinsville, I think he could win any of those tracks. He could win all 3 of those. I think he's the favorite, but the way it's set up, you know, you never know what's going to happen in that final race. But I think he's a heavy favorite to get to that championship race, and then we'll see what happens.
Any spoiler in the 8 as you look at him? Anybody you think's the real spoiler here?
No, not really. I mean, I think these guys, I think if you look at the final 8, it lines up almost the way they've performed this season. Christopher Bell's a guy I'd keep an eye on. He's been very steady. I think any of those top 4 right now could win the thing.
Okay, Jeff. We thank you so much. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week as we roll on through the remainder of the playoffs and get to a champion here in a few weeks. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Jeff.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Jeff Owens in the fast lane with us on Sports Talk. George Bryan, Golf Talk, coming up on Sports Talk.
On On-Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and 107 The Point.
Here's your weekend forecast. We're clear and cool tonight with a low dipping down to 43. Tomorrow is very nice, mostly sunny skies. We'll have a few clouds, the high clouds to 75, while on Sunday, even better, plentiful sunshine. 77 is the high, and next week, we'll stay dry. We'll see a lot of sun there also. Have a great weekend. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
Tradition and quality. That's what you get with H&J Cattle Company, where local third-generation farmers ensure you receive the finest beef in South Carolina. Our registered Hereford and Wagyu cattle are raised with sustainable practices, without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. Taste the difference with the highest quality beef guaranteed. Order now at H&J Cattle CO or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle CO. Again, HandJCattle.co, where ethics meets quality.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting a fast-moving fire burned at least 7 homes as it raced up a hillside in a neighborhood in the city of Oakland, where hundreds of people were ordered to be evacuated. That's according to the Oakland Fire Department. The blaze grew to 14 acres on Friday afternoon in the span of about 3 hours before crews stopped it from advancing. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are both seeking support from Arab American voters as they campaign in Michigan, trying to lock down support in a battleground state that could decide the presidential race. Trump was expected to visit a new campaign office Friday in Hamtramck, one of the nation's only Muslim-majority cities. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 36 points. The Nasdaq rose 115. The S&P 500 advanced by 23. More details at srnnews.com.
You know, a lot of times you have to. Ken and his team over at Broker Solar really hoped you came through the recent storm okay. His heart goes out to the folks who are still struggling with things. But I was talking to him, how many people had no power and for how long? We lost everything in our fridge and freezer, and it makes you wonder what issues you can avoid by getting solar power. See, if we had solar batteries, we would have kept that refrigerator, that freezer running, not lost several $100s in food. Our companies have worked hard to get the power back on, and it's appreciated by all of us. But instead of relying on them during a storm or trying to find gasoline for a generator when there's no gas around, call Broker Solar and let them help. Ken is local. There's no gimmicks. See, I've known Ken and his family for more than 20 years. These are great people. I trust them. You can too. Isn't it worth a call to at least ask some questions? Online, it's brokersolar.com, or give Ken a call, 807-7417. That's 803-807-7417. Take some power back instead of being powerless. Call Broker Solar.
Hey, it's Jay with the Cigar Militia. When I stop by a cigar store, I always look for my go-to cigars and stock up a few of those, but I also look for something I've never tried before. Cigar Militia, we specialize in a lot of small boutique cigar manufacturers. Come in and try a Don Kiki by Karen Berger or a Makaji by Ty Williams. We are the Cigar Militia at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard. Help us out, stock up, and review some of our boutique brands.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. 6 is one call away. Take the leap.
Customer service. We all talk about how it's gone down the tubes in recent years, but not everywhere. Not with the Hickory Hill Insurance Agency. These are the folks I want you to feel comfy reaching out to for your Medicare and health insurance needs. Tim Hanberry and Medicare Blueprint have joined Hickory Hill Insurance. The result? Even better customer service with a bigger team to help you by utilizing the very best technology in the industry. And you know what else? Just plain old caring about people and treating them like their family. When you call them, you'll get a call back fast. When you need a question answered, they'll take the time to help. This industry is so confusing. It's so ever-changing. They have a team that knows the best plans for you. They'll ask all the questions. They'll get all the answers. And as always, it won't cost you a penny to get their services. The best way to learn more? Visit their website, partd.com. That's partdandme.com, or call the team at Hickory Hill Insurance Agency. They're local, and they're willing to talk one-on-one. Remember, customer service still matters. 708-7398. 708-7398, or online, partdandme.com.
Straight down the middle, it went straight down the middle. Then it started to hook just a wee bit, and that's when my caddy lost sight of it. That little white pellet has
Never been found to this day. Kind of like an Aaron Judge blast. That little round pellet, not found to this day. Little round white pellet, not found
his
to this
was. The two that Cleveland hit weren't.
That's true. I bet you Aaron Judge can hit a golf ball a long, long way.
No doubt.
Be quite honest with you. Just like our man, George Bryan III, he can hit a golf ball down the middle a long, long way. Great to have George with us. George, we got a lot of golf activity to talk about as we go through our conversation tonight, brought to you by Tsunami Bar Sports. I know you want to talk about them as well. We'll get to that. But you are on the road. You've been on the road because you've been down watching some qualifying for the Korn Ferry Tour. You were down watching those guys.
Absolutely. And actually it would be up at Winston-Salem. Bermuda Run Country Club, which incidentally is it was one of the best in the Carolinas back in the day, one of the best in the country, and it's definitely revitalized itself. And what a beautiful course and beautiful part of the country. And so glad football season's in. I was scrambling around it is pretty cool to listen to the South Carolina Radio Network birdies and bogeys and talk to you while I'm rolling around. High school football, though, is kind of blocking that a little bit. I picked up high school football. They cut you out somehow, Phil. I don't get it.
Oh, it happens. We have a lot of our stations carry high school football, and we understand that because high school football, that's the lifeblood for a lot of our stations. High school football, that's big for them. So what were you – now this was qualifying for Korn Ferry Tour players to get their tour card for next season. Is that what you were attending?
Yeah, let me set it up. And the Korn Ferry Tour is the minor league feeder tour to the PGA Tour. And the main way to get to the PGA Tour is through the Korn Ferry qualifiers and the tour itself. So this is a qualifier to get onto the Korn Ferry Tour. And so this was actually stage one. Before I talk about the results at stage one, and there's several stages all over the country. Got to congratulate Cody Prevost from Gilbert, Batesburg, Leesville. He just dominated. I think he finished first or second in the first stage in Nebraska. So watched him. We talked a lot about the Prevosts, both of them, Caleb and Cody, they're brothers, and one went to South Carolina, one went to Clemson. We talked a lot about the Prevost. Congratulations. Also, Chris Baker. He qualifies out of the site that I was visiting this week. And so Winston-Salem's really the triad. If you take Raleigh-Durham, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, what a beautiful part of the country, and especially nice for golf. And it was a lot of fun that came down to the last couple of holes for a number of players, including namesake, my oldest son, George IV. But he did birdied 17 and part 18 to make it on the number.
Let me give you his numbers. A 70 in the first round, then a 74, 69, comes back with a 68 today. And you mentioned he had to make some, I'm sure had to make some pressurized putts there down the stretch. What was that? I mean, and the pressure only builds, I guess, as you move up through the qualifying process, the Q school, I guess. And I mean, he made it by a shot. The 3 under was the cut, and he made it right on the cut to advance. That's got to be nerve-wracking.
Well, he's got a lot of experience. He was probably a little bit nervous, but he is a veteran. He's played a couple years on the Latino tour, and he definitely had his heart rate up, but he was having some fun with it. That was what I was really most pleased to see. And I think his wife, Milsom, I think her heart rate and mine were probably a little higher than his. And, you know, it's one of those things that actually my heart rate was up for Chris Baker. I was watching him come down the stretch, and he had a little to play with, and but he made it on the number, and he had what I call shared status. He played a little bit on the tour, a little bit on the Korn Ferry this year, but I was nervous for all those guys out there. This is the time of year that you get a job, and there are a lot of folks out that really don't like the qualifier. I remember Steve Liebler, we talked about this too, and he said it's the greatest tournament that you love to hate, but you hate to love it. But he loved it. Leeds qualified. The only one I've ever known, he's 4 for 4 on qualifier, and heard y'all talking a little baseball earlier. That 4 for 4 is a pretty good number, and I hadn't heard anybody go 4 in and 4 out. He was every time he got on the tour back mid-'80s. So
let me give you some of the results. Davis Lamb and Taylor Funk. Lamb from McLean, Virginia, Funk from Jacksonville. They finished tied for first at -13. Is Taylor Funk related to Fred Funk?
You know, that's a good question. I think so, but I could be wrong. And that would not be the first time that I have been wrong. And I know I do want to, there's another set of qualifying that will start next week. We will have a number of our locals that are tangled up in those qualifiers. And
well, let me give you, before you jump to that, I want to give you the other state players who made the cut. We had others. You had Austin Duncan from York at 8 under. And you had we talked about GB4 listed as being from Aiken at -3. And Alex Goff from Anderson, he made the cut at -3. And you mentioned Chris Baker. So we got 4 from the state advancing.
And like I said, what I'm going to do is collect and get all the names that from around South Carolina that come out of the qualifiers. I know I was yesterday, day before, a couple of days ago. Jamie Wilson, he's heading off to first stage as Scott Stevens. Stevens, even though they might list they're living in other places, they're living locally here, and we've had them both on the show, so we'll follow them through this year. And G4 is headed to Kinderloo Forest for his second stage, and that won't be. He's got a month before his next stage.
Wow. And
actually a little more than a month, which is very odd. That's just how it works. It's not like you get a lot of momentum going, and it's just an odd dynamic. And this time last week, which Wesley had an eagle putt. I think we were talking about why he marked, found out the reason. He ended up making that putt, made it to the weekend, had a good finish. But the reason he marked his golf ball is the chance to putt on fresh greens. And this is the time of year to play golf in the Southeast, anywhere in the Carolinas, but right here in the Midlands, the greens are absolutely freshly cut and perfect, unless they're artificial, as they are at the Scramble course. And we are talking about fast, very small greens, tough to hit. You do have the course record there. But,
yep. Is it still standing?
Cool. Oh, yeah. Your division will never, that record, it can never be broken. Nobody else will be able to enter into you're in the category of one.
I think we need to have a plaque. We need to have a plaque put out there, you know?
Yeah, we'll put it on the bridge.
Yeah.
Right on the bridge. So
on the what did I call that? The Robbie and George Gorge Bridge. Yeah, the Robbie and George Gorge Bridge. Yep.
Nice.
Let me update a couple of other things before we dive into all that. I want to give you the update from the PGA. This was interesting, George. They're playing out in Las Vegas. The wind was so strong that they continued to play, or they've been trying to play, but they did not allow fans in for the tournament. The wind was blowing so hard in Las Vegas. Taylor Pendrith shot a 61 yesterday, and he's only played a hole today, so he's 9 under. Doug Kim is in at 8 under, along with J.J. Spawn and Davis Thompson and J.T. Poston. Jacob Bridgman, the former Tiger, he had a 32-foot birdie putt on his round. He shoots 70, 7 under. And Carson Young is at 4 under, and he is just about to tee off, 7:02. I guess at 7:02 Eastern time he's going to tee off. I would imagine not that late out there. Andrew Novak at 72. He's at 2 under. Kevin Kisner is on the course at -1, and Matt Neesmith is on the course at -1. So some heavy wind conditions, but I guess it's not so windy that the balls aren't stopping and sitting on the greens, so they don't have to worry about, I guess, the wind's not blowing the balls off the greens that would lead to an absolute stoppage of play.
And that's they like to keep those greens cut down, and it will wobble around. And the reason they're not going to let the fans in is there's debris rolling around at high rates of speed, and it actually gets pretty dangerous out there, or can be. And it is odd to have an event that's called for wind. And these guys, they're so unbelievable. They're so good in all conditions. We got TV. We can watch it on TV. And I tell you, this time of year, Phil, we go shift gears, go back into the scramble course because it's hosting a very special family junior golf season, and the local recreation right around Columbia, the RCRC, Richland County Recreation Commission, Lexington County Recreation Aging and Commission, and also Irmo Chapin. They united and hosting this event where families just come out and play golf together. And the cool thing about this program is the parents and the players participate together. And the scramble course is very short. They can play a scramble round in less than 12 minutes. A family can play easily in less than 12 minutes. So it fits in the time capsule of the juniors, the young players, especially young players, and especially the moms and grands. So one of the things about golf is it can take 4.5, 5 hours to play. In fact, today, the qualifiers, the group I watched, took 5 hours. That's a long time to be out. That's not typically going to fit in a young player or the average mom's schedule very well. So this program was designed to fit in the time capsule of those that are new coming into the game. And the mission statement of this program is families just spending time together over golf. So the winter tour, you can check out any of the recreation websites. And hey, what I like to do, I like to talk about this frequently. The number one reason I find that folks stay with the game of golf, Phil, is not necessarily for the game itself, or at least this is my opinion, my experience. They stay in the game for the fellowship, the community, the fact that we can get together and play golf, and we can do it for a lifetime. And I tell you, while I'm on that lifetime, the number one golf professional that influenced me, I got to recognize the champions of the Jackie Sewell, the South Carolina Junior Golf Association Jackie Sewell Invitational, played at Cobb's Glen, and Will Ruth is the boys champion. Mia Carlos is the girls champion. So congratulations to those. And
did you say roof for the first one? Did you say a roof?
Ruth, R-U-T-H, Will Ruth.
Oh, okay.
Jeff Ruth's
Okay.
son.
Okay. I thought you said because wasn't there a really good family of golfers, last name Roof, like maybe came out of the coastal area?
Absolutely, and I'm telling you, Lefty. Let's see, just drew a blank. I can picture all their faces, but the Roof family is who I know them, and actually some of them train over at the Tsunami Bar Sports Training Center.
Nice.
So Justin Roof is the name that comes to mind, and anyway, he's legendary family, and they're kind, very. There's something while I'm legends. We lost a golfer that is probably tied for first with the most passionate that I have ever known. Gus Sylvan passed, and my thoughts and prayers are with his family. Yes, absolutely.
When did this happen?
Gus Sylvan. It happened 3 weeks ago now, and I was so heartbroken. He fell from, this is hearsay, and it's awful to pass along hearsay, but he fell on the golf course and suffered an injury. As he got to the hospital, it eventually manifested itself. The injury led to some sort of a pulmonary failure that it was just so sad. But
well, I had the pleasure of knowing him a little bit. I'm not going to say I knew him well. I knew his reputation more than I knew him. I mean, he played at Georgia, was an All-American at Georgia, wasn't he? And
absolutely.
And had a great amateur career, both in South Carolina and nationally. I am saddened to hear that. I've been, on the move so much. I just did not know that news. I certainly agree with you and send out our condolences to the Sylvan family. I mean, what a big name, in the business world in Columbia and also in the golf world. So I'm very saddened to hear that. That's tough. Well, anyway, I'm just very sad to hear that. I know that's a shock to everybody in the golf world in South Carolina.
There are services tomorrow, from what I understand, and I will visit those. And he's one of the, like I said, tied for first. I've never met anybody more passionate about the game of golf than Gus Sylvan and his daughter Whitney, son Jay, both great players, college players, and anyway, passion. This golf passion is contagious, and Phil, this is that time of year where people are watching football. If they're not watching football, it's pretty cool baseball time of year too. At least for another the series, World Series will be, I guess, next week.
That's right, George. Trying to keep up with the rest of the sports world while you're doing your golf endeavors. Let me do this too, George. We've got Clemson men. They're playing in a tournament. They played the first round today. They are playing in the Golf Club of Georgia Collegiate at the Golf Club of Georgia in Alpharetta, hosted by Georgia Tech. Tigers are in 8th place after the first round. That's 2 over par for them. Virginia is your leader at 9 under. Then UCLA is 8 under. Duke is 5 under. As far as the Tigers and their performances today, best score of 69 turned in by Rich Willis. They had a 71 by Keon Rose. It's a par 72 course. So those are the top 2 scores for the Tigers. So they're in action. And then South Carolina men open a tournament tomorrow. And let's see, they are playing. I'm trying to remember where they're playing. They're playing tomorrow. They begin a tournament tomorrow. The USC women, they open a tournament right here in Oklahoma City. I'm in Oklahoma City. So the USC women will be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, playing in the Jackson T. Stevens Cup in Oklahoma City at the Oklahoma City Country Club. I should have gone out there and got a little scouting report for them while I'm here in Oklahoma City.
I'll tell you what, Jimmy Austin, right out there at Oklahoma's, it's a great public track, and played there, spent quite a bit of time there, and strongly recommend it. Al Cusack, you got to look up Al Cusack since you're out in that area. He's a good buddy of mine, and he knows how to do it when it comes to steaks and beef. Cusack Meats, check it out. Find a way. find a way and tell Al I said hello. And one of the things, too, Jamie Futrell, the College of Charleston women's golf coach, he got his 40th win.
Wow.
And 40th win, I saw that, and you'd have to look that up and tell me which one what event they did win, but congratulations, Coach Futrell. He's one of the finest gentlemen that I've ever known in college golf, men or women.
And the Gamecocks are going to be playing Gamecocks are playing in the Fallen Oak Invitational in Mississippi, put on by Southern Miss. It's in I'll let Chris pronounce this. He's the master of pronunciation. Saucier, Mississippi. Saucier. Saucier.
Well,
Sounds
if it
good
were
enough.
in Louisiana, you could definitely go French. I'm not so sure about Mississippi pronunciations, though.
George, what do you think of the performance of the Gamecock men's team with their new coach here in this fall season? You like what you're seeing from them?
Impressive. I've had the chance. This is really unusual. This week I actually watched a few of the players that didn't make the travel team, and that's one of the things I kind of take a look at is who's on the bench. And he's got some really good players. He's got some really good players on the bench, so that's not necessarily. I did get a chance last week, on the weekend to watch a few of the players that are traveling, and let's see, it is Nathan Franks had the most unbelievable finish that I think I've seen. Excuse me. It would be Zach Birdie's. Oh my goodness! I think he played the last 6 holes 7 under par. Most unbelievable finish. Nathan Frank shot 63, and all this has been in the last few weeks. So Gamecock's pretty strong, and the coach is fine gentleman too. I don't know Coach Bradley very well, but on the radio show a few weeks ago, I think this is their last event of the fall.
Let's see.
One after this.
Let's see. They do have the. This is it. They resume in February with the Puerto Rico Classic. So in the fall, they have a second place finish, they have a third place finish, and they have a T3, a tie for third place finish. So they've got some good finishes. I don't know how great the competition has been, tournament by tournament. They played in the Knoxville Collegiate, they played in the Tyndall, and they played in the Everett Buick GMC Classic.
Hey, the Carolina Clemson, they're solid. They don't get a break. They don't get to go not quite like some of the other sports in the fall. They go to beautiful events, and it's strong competition and good golf courses. That's Zach Adams that had that finish back at Salina Golf Club. And, strong team. And going over to the Clemson side, Jacob Bridgman, he is on fire. I also noticed that it's pretty good news. I think Carson Young it looks to me like he's in good standing and taking care of his job for next year, too. A couple of Tigers playing great, and fully expect Bridgman to get it done this week in Vegas. So for a lot of years, South Carolina's produced junior golf, and the name I mentioned earlier on, Jackie Sewell, he's legendary and was on the Frontier. He and Hap Lathrop, I'll go around the horn that of folks. Charlie Roundtree, the Roundtree family. These individuals were incredibly influential supporting junior golf. And there's that music. Hey, Tsunami Bar Sports. Thank you to our sponsor, Tsunami Bar Sports. Triple B5 gets you 5% off on the best technology out there. Try it. Golf, fitness, baby. Until next week, you all have fun in Oklahoma. Tee 'em high, but shoot 'em low.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Chris. Have a great call tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you.
KXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. As the American presidential election draws closer, correspondent Robert Yoon has a special report on the voting habits of Americans over the years.
Voters today have some options in terms of how they vote and when they vote. The main choices are voting in person at a polling place on Election Day, voting early in person before Election Day, or voting by mail. There's been some form of absentee voting available to voters since the founding of the Republic, and early voting and mail voting have been around in some form for more than 100 years. But the snapshot of how people vote has really evolved over the years.
The number of people casting ballots on the first day of early person voting in presidential battleground North Carolina exceeded the first day total 4 years ago, even as Hurricane Helene recovery continued in the mountains. The State Board of Elections said Friday a record 353,166 people cast ballots statewide on Thursday. Both sides in the Israel-Hamas war seem to be digging their heels in as the terrorist group says hostages will not be released unless Israel pulls out of Gaza, and Israel says it'll keep fighting until the hostages are released and a buffer zone's established. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says several nations will have to take part in an effort to stabilize Gaza after the war ends.
Hopefully countries in the region will step up. There quite possibly can be a part for the United States to play in that as well. What part that would be and what that would look like, Chris, we're going to have to work with our allies and partners to scope that out.
On Wall Street, the Dow up by 36 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The instability of our economy after this election has many worried, and stocks and bonds could be the first to collapse. Countless Americans are turning to the safest store of wealth in human history to protect their retirement accounts. Physical precious metals. Gold has been a safe haven asset for generations. At Premier Gold, we specialize in helping those with a 401k, IRA, or other types of retirement accounts convert their vulnerable paper assets into physical gold to protect their hard-earned savings. Today, we'd like to send you a free gold election kit to help you decide if this is right for you. Call 606-800-8000 to claim yours. Act before the election to take advantage of the current rollover policies, allowing for a quick and seamless transfer into physical gold or silver. Don't let the outcome of this election influence the fate of your financial future. Call 606-800-8000 now. Premier Gold is not a financial advisor. Please consult with your advisor before investing. Call 606-800-8000.
Stocks keep climbing to record-breaking levels.
Stocks rose to more record highs on Wall Street, closing out their latest winning week. The S&P 500 climbed 0.4% Friday. The benchmark index edged past the all-time high it set earlier this week. It also marked its sixth weekly gain in a row. The Dow Jones Industrial Average inched up 36 points. That's about 0.1%. The Dow is also at another record high. The Nasdaq Composite rose 0.6%. Netflix helped drive the gains. The streaming video giant jumped a bit more than 11% after reporting a surge in profit